And it's not even, you don't even need John Connor to be the main character in the
No.
movie. You have him as that talking head, and maybe it's kind of like, what's the horror movie, The Purge. So it's kind of like in the Purge series, like you see people kind of increase in leadership through the
Yeah.
different series,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of like, I don't know if it's the second one or the third one, where there's like the guerrilla militants show up, and it's like, yeah, it's the guy from like the second one or the first one that's kind of moved his way up in tier.
Yeah.
You can have that. We kind of have him show up, throughout the movie in talking heads, but then at the end, it's like, welcome to the rebellion.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the end of it, is the people from the story like making their way to his base after all these individual stories have gone on.
Yeah.
You
That's
can make it
incredible.
this big world and
That's
just
fantastic, dude.
go
That's
from there.
amazing because like, and also when you're having John Connor on the Talking Head shows, it's like he could be labeled a terrorist at some point, or like something that's like a guerrilla rebel, and he's just out of his mind. He's talking about his mom, and they kind of exercise him from TV and all the kind of things and that's where his journey starts. Is like, I guess my mom was right. They're not going to listen, or whatever it is, and you could, yeah, exactly. You could shoot it off into wherever you want it to go, and it'd be interesting because we do have a stake in this trilogy, this kind of franchise. So you want it to do well, and you want it to have good stories, and not necessarily about John or Sarah Connor or the T-800 or whatever. You could start small and kind of get there organically.
Yeah, you could have an 8 episode HBO series or Amazon Prime series where you're going through these different people's stories, and through all the episodes you kind of have John Connor popping up in these little vignettes, little stories on TV or
Hmm.
in a newspaper story or on a podcast. You hear him, and then you throw in episode 7, and it's all about him, and it's shows the self doubt of, maybe this isn't like, even he has cracks of
Hmm.
whether this is really
Yeah.
going to happen and this is the right path to go, and then it just, the tipping point hits, and then it's, here's, then it's okay, I'm on this. I knew, I had my doubts, but this is what it is, and now we're going full force with these different characters. You could even do that as just a standalone one series. You don't even have to go past that point. Just get to the point where he says, welcome to the rebellion,
Yeah.
and welcome to the resistance,
Yeah.
and you're in, like, you're just there. You stop there. You don't go further with those people and show like the early years, because then you're getting too costly, right? You're getting
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
special effects budget
Yeah.
and how
Yeah.
things, especially if they've dropped nuclear bombs, it's like, then you got to fast forward a little bit so it's habitable environment, and just stop it there. Just
Yeah.
cut your losses and move on from that point.
That's I feel like that would be a good way to introduce these legacy characters if you want to, and it would be best probably not to, but you could introduce Linda Hamilton into some of these episodes of like, maybe she's popping in because she's on her way to do something or create something, or to kind of get some people together, and he's trying to stay mainstream in terms of TV and print and radio and all that kind of stuff to try to inform these people. And she's like, you got to give that up. We just got to go. And so she goes, she'll pop in an episode here or there, maybe a little bit. And he's just, and again, like you said, at the end, it's like, you're right, Mom. All right, I'm here. Let's do this. Or something to that effect. And that to me would be interesting, just to see this. And I think going back to the 1 and 2 argument, that was a time too to make the sequels these big tentpole type of Spielberg-esque, George Lucas kind of big movies, and those were great. I think now is the time to kind of get back into the nitty gritty and the little details of how this all happened. That would be great, man. You got me pumped.